Hello viewers, you are watching Afghanistan Report and I am your host Swati Kundra. The main stories are: mass funeral in Pakistan for Taliban militants killed in Afghanistan. German army extends mission in Afghanistan with NATO partners. And Afghanistan showcases its traditional items at the India International Trade Fair. A mass funeral for Taliban militants allegedly killed by American airstrikes in Afghanistan was held in northwestern Pakistan. The militants were operatives of Al-Badr Mujahideen and Jamaat-ud-Dawa of Hafiz Saeed. This is yet another conclusive proof of Pakistan's direct involvement in spreading terror in Afghanistan. A report.
The funeral for the Taliban militants drew hundreds of mourners in the northwestern Pakistani district of Lower Dir. The faces of the 21 militants were not shown, and many coffins were believed to have only partial remains. The deceased reportedly were natives of the two districts of Lower and Upper Dir in northwestern region of Pakistan, close to the borders of Afghanistan. I myself attended the funeral prayer of 4 fighters. Villagers told me they were Mujahideen, said Alamzeb Khan, a district official in Lower Dir. The Afghan news media reported that a drone strike in the eastern Afghan province of Nangarhar killed some 50 militants who belong to Pakistan. Afghan officials have complained that a greater number of Pakistani fighters than usual have joined a heavy wave of Taliban offensive this year. They say Pakistan is continuing with its policy of cross-border terror against Afghanistan.
Pakistan, right from the beginning of terrorism, has been following the strategy of good terrorists and bad terrorists. In that, there are good terrorist guys and there are bad terrorist guys. Good are those who meet their aspirations, whom they use for spreading terror in other countries, and bad are those who are carrying out terrorist activities within the Pakistani state as well as within the Pakistani armed forces. To name a few, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, which are their strategic assets and spread terror in Kashmir and India, are treated as good terrorists, while at the same time in Afghanistan, the Afghan Talibans and Haqqani network are treated as good guys, but Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is treated as a bad guy. Now, since a few Talibans were killed in Afghanistan by the Afghan army, they brought them to Pakistan to give them the funeral of a shaheed or a martyr. So it clearly shows that Pakistan has not learned its lesson, and it continues to follow the policy of good terrorists and bad terrorists.
Al-Badr Mujahideen and Jamaat-ud-Dawa are insurgency groups formed in Pakistan to create disturbance in India's Jammu and Kashmir state. But due to the stringent measures adopted by India, these militant outfits have shifted their activities from east to west. Afghanistan has many times accused Pakistan of backing Taliban and helping it to regroup and re-establish.
A US investigation said that an attack on an MSF hospital in Afghanistan last month was an accident caused by human error. However, MSF has called for an independent investigation into the incident. We have a detailed report.
A US investigation found that the deadly October 3rd airstrike in Afghanistan that destroyed a hospital run by Médecins Sans Frontières was a tragic and avoidable accident caused primarily by human error. The US forces then looked for a target that was visually similar to the one they had originally sought, the former National Directorate of Security headquarters in Kunduz, which they believed was occupied by insurgents.
The report determined that U.S. strike upon the MSF Trauma Center in Kunduz City, Afghanistan, was the direct result of human error compounded by systems and procedural failures. The U.S. forces directly involved in this incident did not know the targeted compound was the MSF Trauma Center.
Known as Doctors Without Borders in English, MSF has in the past publicly cast doubt on the idea that the strike could have been a mistake. Detailing its own investigation on November 5th, MSF said the site's location had been clearly communicated to both Afghan forces and the Taliban.
It's pretty shocking for us that they would still fire on a target, not knowing essentially what they were firing at. And that really amounts to essentially gross negligence in terms of being able to not distinguish between the civilian and military target. And we think that that needs and requires further independent investigation, not by someone who is involved in the conflict, as the U.S. government is. And so we've reiterated our call for that independent investigation today.
No country is expected to bomb the residential areas, hospitals, schools, and religious places in its enemy's territory.
As violence escalates in many areas of northern Afghanistan, Germany has decided to extend its mission in the war-torn country. The decision was taken at a recent meeting of NATO member states in Berlin. We have a report.
German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen said the country will maintain its military presence in northern Afghanistan in 2016 in cooperation with its NATO partners. Although NATO has withdrawn most of its combat troops from Afghanistan, it still has soldiers stationed there to train local forces. About 850 German troops are in Afghanistan on this mission. The German government recently said it will send 130 more soldiers to support Afghan forces struggling to tackle Islamist insurgency.
Wir sind übereingekommen, und das ist eine sehr gute Nachricht, dass wir gemeinsam unseren Beitrag fortsetzen wollen, um die Sicherheitsarchitektur in Afghanistan zu stärken und weiter auszubilden. Das ist ein sehr gutes Ergebnis, denn es gibt viel zu tun. Wir wollen die Mission Resolute Support Mission im Jahr 2016 fortsetzen. Das heißt, wir wollen das einerseits bisher Erreichte sichern, aber wir wollen auch darüber hinaus Fortschritte ermöglichen.
Afghan Defense Minister Mohammad Masoom Stanikzai welcomed the German support.
Fighting the terrorism, it is a task that one country alone cannot do that. And I think the recent incidents and events showed that the new generation of the terrorists will require a wider international cooperation.
The Taliban's surprise seizure of the northern city of Kunduz in September, the first time the militants had taken a provincial capital in 14 years, has prompted the US-led military coalition to revise its strategies in Afghanistan.
Moving on, Afghanistan's central bank governor Khalil Siddiq has said the country is aiming to set up a secondary bond market before considering a stock exchange. While some private investors have been pressing for a stock market, Siddiq said the time was not right as a stock market needs a relatively safe environment. He added that an exodus of people has put pressure on the weak currency. The Afghan central bank has issued bonds with maturity of 7 and 28 days, 6 months and 1 year to the tune of $520 million.
We are in a war situation in Afghanistan. It's an imposed war is going on. So you cannot expect a very stable currency for any country who has the same situation. Especially in 1 year, what happened that you know that from 2014, majority of foreign troops left Afghanistan. So all activities relating to them has diminished. Transportation, logistic, and all these things. Then certainly the amount of money they were using inside Afghanistan, it was coming in dollar form, converted into Afghani and spending. So this inflow has also declined a lot.
US troops marked the annual Thanksgiving holiday on November 26 with a traditional turkey and gravy dinner at NATO's main headquarters in Kabul. Joining the US troops were multinational forces stationed in Afghanistan.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm thankful for, being alive and everything like that, and having the opportunity to serve the Afghan people as much as we can here. Difference between here and home, of course, I don't have my family here with me, but I'm still happy to be around my military family and the other coalition forces that we had, created bonds with and everything like that.
Going with its policy of neighbors first, the India International Trade Fair 2015 invited Afghanistan as a partner country. Traders from Afghanistan participated in large numbers to strengthen trade ties with India. Let's take a look.
The 35th edition of the India International Trade Fair 2015 concluded recently in New Delhi, which drew huge crowds. Over 6,000 exhibitors from India and overseas participated in the fair. This year, Afghanistan was the partner country. The landlocked country showcased its rich culture and traditional items like jewelry, world-renowned Afghani carpets, and dry fruits. The main attraction, which aroused the interest of customers, was a platter of rich Afghanistan dry fruits.
We have a variety of all kind of dry fruits. We have walnuts, we have pistachio, we have dry fig, we have raisin, and we have this almonds. So all these belongs to Afghanistan. So India is good market for Afghanistan, and we are just near to India. So we are just enjoying this exhibition a lot, and we are trying our best to provide better quality to our Indian pupils, because we have a long history with India and we have good relation with India as well.
There were about 30 stalls in the Afghan pavilion. This year, the traditional Afghani jewelry also made it to the shelves, keeping in mind the potential women buyers. The Afghani lapis lazuli stoned jewelry was a major center of attraction.
People like different kinds of them. And also they're all boys, and also they're asking many kinds of jewelry. Especially there's, you can see, lapis lazuli is so famous in different countries. It belongs to Afghanistan. And also we have Irish handicrafts like the clues.
I every time come here to see the international pavilion. So this time I have bought some dry fruits, and these are, amazing products I'm seeing over here. Some jewelries, wonderful colors here.
The world-renowned Afghani carpets also grabbed many eyeballs. The colorful wool carpets were dyed in natural colors. Afghanistan has a lot to offer to global customers, and the Indian International Fair just provided them the right platform.
With that, we come to the end of this week's episode of Afghanistan Report. I'm Swati Kundra taking your leave. We'll be back next week with more news and views from Afghanistan. Goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.